74th. Yeah, 74th live stream. Today it is brought to you by Ellie Claw.
Hi. Wait, I'm sponsoring?
Yeah.
Did I give you money?
Well, yeah.
Oh.
Well, I stole your wallet. I mean,
Oh, okay, okay, that makes more sense. That makes more sense. And of course, Zamzam, who stole my wallet. I guess that's your introduction, you wallet stealer.
I have a wallet now.
Well, joke's on you. My wallet's falling apart.
That's because it's undead now.
Hey.
Yeah. This is how this conversation has gone today. Expect no better from us.
Really, they should never expect better from me.
All right, so we're gonna get to art before we go too silly here. So,
Yes.
did you get the PM by the way?
Yes, and I think we'll be okay.
All right. If you say so, Allie. I am trusting you not to spoil this for me. I've been matrix dodging it up to this point.
I can confirm none of this is what is drawn is in the movie.
All right. Fire me the image then, and I'll add it to the thing, and we'll do it first, because Binky's here, and this is how we do this stuff. Hello, Puckersturve.
Hello.
And Torsid. Wow, we're getting people.
So many people.
There's like 10 people looking at us. Allie, there's 10 people watching us.
Whoa.
Are you gonna PM me that, or?
Yeah, doing it right now.
Okay.
Shooby-doo, shooby-doo.
I think I don't know if that happens in the movie or not. I just don't know what's going to happen.
No, I mean, there's been plenty of in the past shooby-doo, shooby-doo doobie-doos. I'm calling this a retroactive species shooby-doo.
All right. Edit, paste from file. There we go.
Sure, Puck, just throw it at our faces.
The harder you throw it, the better it sticks.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, first question: do you have any questions about this picture? Anything that's nagging you about it?
I like the flow. It's a nice flow. Mustache.
Printscreen.com. Ooh, pretty picture.
Ooh, I can't wait to see that.
Well, glad you could come. Don't feel a necessity to pound out art. I mean, you can probably learn stuff off of people here. I hope so. I mean, that is our goal. Hopefully,
Mm-hmm.
teachered people, teachered, learned people.
Learned.
There we go. It doesn't always work. But you can do something for us if you still want to doodle a picture. We have this thing called an Aggie. Hint. 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 There it is.
There.
Yeah, you can draw in there, and it's great and stuff. You just click on it, and hopefully be using the right browser or have the plugin. If you don't have the plugin, check the help menu. It will have the answer for you. And this week's theme is rock. Can't stop the rockin'.
Better have fun with that theme. You know, you can take rocks and turn it into anything, like the Rock or Rock Concert or
Rock soup.
Rock Soup, Boulder, Pebble. You know, endless possibilities.
Totally. I really like the tail in this thing. It's like
Mm-hmm. said flowy. Like, it has a really nice action.
And you notice
Line of action.
it has like another tail.
That's the back fin.
Oh yeah, I guess. Yeah, maybe. Okay. So they're flying
Snow
fish.
ponies. Yeah, flying fish. Angelfish? Isn't that what they're called? No.
Oh,
What are the
maybe I don't know. I don't know.
fish? Alright, so to talk about the picture really quick, I think this front leg you have going on is a smidgen long. You have like a very we get a different color. Blue will work. You have a very long section here, which if you tried to stretch out this leg compared to your other one that's already stretched out, it would be like ending up in this length. Be very, very long leg. So I would just be careful of your proportions for the leg length. Usually, we have these two sections similar in length, and then of course the hoofed bit for the simplified pony leg. But yeah, that's my little watch for that.
I was on watercolor. That was my problem. I'm like, why isn't it putting down ink?
Doesn't like you.
Hello, Mr. Brick at a Wall. I just rounded out the muzzle a bit more so it does the rest of the side of the face, because it is a turned head, so it's going to have the rest of that, well, muzzle shape hanging around there. I tried to integrate it with the mouth you have. It kind of makes her have a really, really big maw doing it, but it's still adorable.
The proportions work out for me too.
I like your eyes. The see-through hair, seen it done. It doesn't really work when you color it because it gets kind of weird, but if that's your goal, then by all means. I like the flowy, flowy mane.
Yes, it's very nicely done. I'm trying to think. The hat I feel like could be pushed back a bit, because if you look at, because I'm assuming this is Daring Do, because the little cutie mark here.
Yeah, and the hat,
Push the hat back a little more, like this would be the brim.
like roll it backwards, you mean?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Because
Yeah.
most of the ponies in the show have it further back on the head than instead of on top of the head. So, let me quick look up.
Apple bloom in the last episode, though. Just saying.
Well, even AJ said she was doing it wrong. But then again, there's so much things too much on the scene.
I think that was the gist of this episode.
Yeah. See what I want?
Oh, learning stuff like friendship.
Okay, so it may not be as far back as I placed it, but I'm looking at pictures of Daring Do, and it's definitely, it has more of this kind of angle of placement on our head rather than this one. Here, I'll do it in red. The red is the angle you have it at, and the angle I'm looking at is more like this purple angle. So I would just bump that back a little bit to make it feel more like a sturdy hat, because her Explorer hat is a lot stiffer than you think. If you ever held an Explorer hat, or
They're solid chunks of plastic.
yeah, they're there to protect as you explore. It's like a hard hat, but festive.
It's a festive hard hat.
I couldn't think of how to say it.
I think you did say it. We can help you. If you have a picture you'd like for us to look at, great. If it's just a general question, we can approach it between these two, because answering a question is quicker than arting.
Woo! But yeah, otherwise I really don't have a problem. Just be careful of the ears. We got a major curve. I think we could actually, if we look, this being the head circle, I think you can have the ears a little more up straight. I don't know. That just may be my opinion, but they feel a little too pushed forward to feel natural.
It might be just the quick backwards motion of the head that's causing it.
True. something to make them more exciting, though.
I wouldn't want to bring one up and bring one down. I would, however, take the far wing and make it turned away from the body more. Because right now they're very profile to the body. And that's fine for the close one. But take this far one, move it back by, doing this kind of thing. You know what I mean? Perspective.
Yeah, that's all I really have for that one.
All right. It sounds like Torsen's going to get it onto a file. So, and I'm just grabbing Mr. Brick in a Walls. We have 13 viewers! 11 viewers. 13, 14 people if you hover over the thing. We're popular.
Nice.
Yeah, that's probably right. I'm just resizing images.
We have yet to make our mark on high society.
I did. They told me to never come back.
Oh, yikes.
Well, turns out when you're a zombie, they're allowed to be racist.
Everyone's a little bit racist sometimes.
Are we just Avenue queuing this thing up now?
I mean, there's always a moment where an Avenue Q song is able to be applied to real life. That's just a fact.
Fair enough. Love Avenue Q. I remember driving to Toronto with my parents and going to a musical shop that only just sold musicals and musical sheet papers, like so you could buy enough for your entire musical group to perform, and it like had all the licensing and stuff to go with it. And Avenue Q was there, and they had the CD just released that day. I was like, check it out. Yeah, it was silly. It was great. Part of history. That's right. So listen to Avenue Q on the way home with the parents in the car.
That was actually the first show, because my dad was, side story time, really quick though, I promise. My dad was one of the people in my life that really got me into watching theater a lot, and that was one of the first shows I had to decline from him, because I already knew what was going to happen, and I'm like, I'm sorry, Dad, but I don't want to sit next to you for the contents of the show. And the next day he came to me, he's like, I now understand why you didn't want to go.
That's
So,
hilarious.
there's my side story.
All right, let's do pucker serve.
Which one's at the
That is the top right-hand corner. The wee little one. You might recognize her as the #1 fan, I guess. I think that's who that is, right? That's her mother. Allie.
Everyone's saying I'm quiet, but I don't know what I can do.
Oh, that's all me. One sec. Can you talk again?
Check. Hello, this is me talking.
Let me do things. Things with things. Oh my gosh, how much do I have to boost this? Let's bring it to 350%.
Am I louder? Am I sort of shy now?
No. It's got a 10 decibel gain and it's still not do. What the heck?
Why?
Wait a moment. I think everything's quiet in this. Oh, everything is quiet. Oh, everyone's just quiet compared to me. I see how it is. One sec. We're gonna do the classical audio breaking. So how do I boost everything at once? I can't. Okay. Oh, why is it such a bad program?
I'm seeing if I can do anything on my end to boost it. Boop, boop, boop.
Please stand by as we complete this.
Blah, blah, blah.
It's always hard to tell if we're actually loud or quiet or whatever.
Test, test. How's this?
Oh, that's loud. Wonderful.
Oh.
Did you just turn on like mic boost?
Yeah, I found a few settings that I could like jam up to 100.
Actually, you might want to turn that back a bit. It's clipping on the ends of it.
Okay, one sec.
Discord. Well, Discord is as loud as she goes. Just gonna keep.
All right. I moved down to 88. How's this?
That's less clippy. That should be good.
Okay. I can adjust if it needs changes later. Also, there were several people throwing art at our faces while we did the sound check.
My face. Torso. Wait, hold it. I grabbed Mr. Brickenwalls. It's down at the bottom. Tarson, are you looking for critique on that? Yes. Okay.
And then also, there's one in voice chat.
What?
For Sundaw.
Okay. We can do that. We just click buttons and. Wait, no. What? What? Oh, I gotta scroll.
How dare you scroll?
Okay. Sorry. Please stand by as I adjust picture sizes. Because y'all love to have big resolutions.
Fancy big resolutions.
Alright, Sundaw's gets the pass this time. Oh, so does that. Okay, I'm just complaining over nothing. Got it. I'll make space here somehow. Edit, resize canvas. 2000. Alright, we got all the art up.
We did it! We did it!
It just takes time, folks. We're sorry.
Now we can hear better and hopefully hear better.
It's still only like half audio for you when you speak, but I'm more along the same volume line, so let's hope that's good enough.
Just complain to us if it's really still bad.
I'll
try to speak up a little louder too.
I got you boosted 500%.
Oh god. One day we'll figure out a setup that will be fine.
It's crazy.
Back to the art.
No more boosting. No more just audio. No, nothing. Just it's all she's got, Captain. Okay, so who is this again? This was done by
Puck, I believe?
Puck. Yes, Puck. You there, Puck? God, she's cute.
I love the rendering of the face going on. And the hair starting.
Very, very nice shading, too. We got hard shadows up here. We got soft shadows here.
And secondary lights.
It's interesting. Like, I assume they've rendered the face, but haven't got down to the body, because you have the hard lines on the body, but all that's been removed on the face. Is that correct, Puck?
They said it was a work in progress. I'm not going to answer for them, but I assume yes.
Aren't you them?
I'm secretly everybody in the chat. I just have multiple accounts and many drawing styles.
I'm impressed.
It's the scam of the century.
I don't know what you're scamming off of us, though.
All that internet money, of course.
All right. Light.
Yeah. The front legs, I feel, are running into a proportions issue. Because we have the front ones that could use with extending, and the ones behind the front ones could use some... They both could use a little tweak. I don't know if you work with skeletons or something, like we talked about in the last one, if you were listening or here, I don't remember. If we look at... Because I know the pony can either be broken down into 4 sections or 3, am I correct? Like there's like the more horse bone structure, and then the MLP standards, just boom, boom, boom.
Zoom it out so you can see what she's talking about. I usually have it just zoomed in on the image.
Like MLP pony bones have a little more... They're cartoons. They can do whatever they want. They could be rubber. Doesn't really matter. But they usually have a much more simplified bone connection for the front legs. But yeah. So I think we can definitely play off the horse a little more to give you a better feel for the hooves. So we have our, our shoulders, boom, boom, and of course the hoofs and the other parts. Something a little more prominent instead of getting smaller.
Hey, that's fine. This is what the joy of art is. You get to play with and figure out how you want your little hoovesies to look.
And it can change. It can change and change and change. It's the magic of art. So yeah, I would say you made them kind of really small. I feel like you could keep more consistent with the size. And as for the back hoof, I feel like the bend could be a little further.
Yeah, because it seemed like a very short arm up at that front there.
So something, this is messy, but something more along this line. Yeah.
I would just say, don't forget your other ear. Magical disappearing ears.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really got nothing else. You could maybe even show a little bit of the wing peeking up on this side.
Peeky poo.
A little peek. Yeah. They'll get their answer in short second because of the delay.
It's like a minute right now. At least on my screen. Gotta love a good delay.
But yeah, otherwise I don't really have much else. Looks nice to me. Can't wait to see it finished. I like the ear shape. It's nice and it's like a pudgy ear. I like pudgy, fluffy ears.
No problem.
Happy to help.
I mean, Allie did most of the things, but hey.
No, you helped. Don't you even?
She got on a roll. She's like, I'm a lion without a cause.
Wow.
All right.
Wow, 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 wow.
I think next is the Fluttershy down at the bottom left-hand corner. And that was
Okie pokey.
brought to us by... Wait. Gotta keep scrolling up. Before... No, after Puckster. Mr. Brickenwall? Yeah.
I like the action line we got going. It's a nice curve. Little curl.
The body feels... Well, specifically the neck feels very long, though.
I feel like the head could be pushed over to like here, and then it goes back. Some like this.
No! I made everything disappear.
No.
One sec. Everything's coming back. Millhouse.
Not Millhouse.
See you later,
Thanks for
Puckster.
coming.
Hello, Ethan Sawyer? Sawyer? Yeah, I'm gonna say Sawyer. Totally agree with moving the head or moving the neck back. Had a problem with the open mouth. What sort of problem are you feeling? Is it just the general shape of it?
I feel like if we look at, you know, kind of how the jaw would fall on each side. Maybe show some teeth and a tongue. I know that usually helps to bring things together.
Looks 2D.
Yeah, I think it's mainly to do like if we take your head shape, it's mainly where the mouth connects, you pretty much have it feel like it's on an angle instead of, you know, with her face. So boom. Something more like that. Boom, boom, boom. More on level. Does that make more sense? It's kind of like that idea of following the box muzzle. Swish me up a... Well, there's not much of a jaw, usually, unless you're doing more realistic horses. Especially with the angle, we're not going to see much of her jaw because she's facing down. So a lot of the jaw is going to be covered up. But let me just start fresh. I'm drawing a circle over here. So general viewing area, do a little cross, you know. I like getting the eyes down. Then for the muzzle, just box it. Boom, boom. And the other box. Will be up here, but of course if you want to open, you gotta swing it down. So bada bing, bada boom. Little cheek on that side. It's all about utilizing like the undersketch to find how it'll bend open and such. And if you want a more, you know, that chibi boopable, you know, I'm trying to think of a name for that kind of a nose.
Petite.
Petite. A petite and round instead of more muzzle-like. Just erase that, and we can, you know...
Just shrink the entire thing. Yeah.
Yep.
You widen out the face in exchange for the smaller nose, because all the fat from the nose goes back into the cheeks. And it's just adorable little cheeks.
Boom.
10 out of 10 would boop.
Boom. Boopable marshmallow noses. I can work with that. There's nothing wrong with the head being too circle-like. In fact, that's the optimal shape you want to look for, because usually you see people fall for more oval-shaped heads, making them too tall or too wide. The reason why you want it circular is because that gives you a good symmetrical base. Usually faces are very symmetrical. Well, that's the thing. You add the cheeks on afterwards. Something very helpful. So, like, if you keep your head circle, it's a great starting guide, and you can always add on to it, change it around. So I wouldn't say don't undersketch with a circle, but you add on top of your undersketching. Your undersketching isn't the final answer. It's a guide. It's there to help you kind of build what you want the final product to be. Like, I drew a box, but obviously my muzzle didn't end up like a box. I gave it some curves. I used it as guidelines. Just the under information that you won't really see in its purest form. And even the fixes I did here are a little odd because, well, I converted muzzle shaped, so it's a little awkward.
Awkward. Oh, wait. Really? I love what you're doing, Mr. Brick and Wall. Your art has really been improving. Thumbs up.
Yeah, major thumbs up. You can definitely see the improvement.
What do you think about the wings? This wing is good. This wing is a little thin. You've sort of broken the bones and made it into like fabric. Wings, let me go grab our references. Wing, wait, no, Reddit has it. Let's do this together, class. We're going to go here, and we're going to surf Reddit for 3 hours, and then we're going to go look for our references.
The distraction.
Pegasus wing tutorial. Oh my gosh!
What?
Look at this. There's a tutorial on it. It just makes me so proud. So, wings. Broken down into a few bones. We can see there's the one bone there, 2, 3, 4, and then little fingers. Ponies sort of break those because they their feathers are fingers. Don't worry about that so much. Just accept that pony magic exists. But you can see here how they've done this. They build it down the spine. So we have down at the middle of the spine here, the wings coming off the side into essentially 3 large bones. And don't worry about the rest because they're minor. Where's the rest of that? There it is. And here's how the plumage would be built up. So we're going to take this. We're going to bring it on over to your horse. I'm going to put it up on a different monitor here. Close. So, bone 1. We're going to choose a different color. Let's go with red. We're going to go 1 bone, 2 bone, 3 bone, home. And we're going to choose those knuckles with a different one. There we go. So, the 4 joints, essentially, that's hanging around there. There is really a 5th one, but don't worry about that. It's such a minor area, it's not going to change how the thing's laid out. So if we use this bone that we've just laid out, we can now lay the feathers across that. So if we go back to our reference, and we see how that plumage is built up, we go, oh man, look at the plumage. It's got like multiple layers to it. It's got the primaries, the secondaries, the auxiliaries, the lesser underwing coverts, and the greater underwing coverts. I only know those words when I stare at the tutorial. And so we can take that and we can transplant it onto our pony here. Just going to minimize this lovely rock show going on down there. So we go, well, our goal of this wing is to have it sort of curving. So it looks like half of her's doing sort of a spiral dive thingy. So we're going to take the feathers, we're going to stick them over here. We're just roughing in shapes until we want to add in those lovely, lovely feathers. We're going to decide that it's going to be ducking downwards. So we're going to figure out how it rolls. I think something like this would be the right answer. And the rest of the plumage comes down this way. So the shape's right. We just need to fix essentially the top area across here. So we're going to keep the side up over here. We're going to let this will be our top. We're just going to fill it on in for you so it's easier to see among all this sea of colors. And we're going to take that wing. We're going to build out the feathers. But it's rolling over this way towards here. So at some point it's got to switch direction. And it'd essentially be something like that. Harder switch in direction, or lesser switch. Should really be doing it a bit harder here if we're going to roll over to the point where that almost becomes inverted. Yes, that looks better. Twisting it, dropping it, building up that top thick line. I think that's the answer here. What do you say, Miss Claw?
I agree. Or my other little sketch on the side, you could push the dynamic pose of this pony, and since you already have this, I'll grab yellow. We haven't used yellow yet. You have this nice little curve going up the body. Maybe have an intersecting curve going that way instead of having the wing go down, which is also an option, but you could have the wings going up. Like I did a little messy sketch of an idea of how that could look like. but it's just an idea to play with. And also, I'd pull like the legs instead of them being tucked, because she feels more like a dive than trying to hold herself up. So I'd have the legs kind of out more instead of under her.
Any further questions?
Do. As always, if you're watching, feel free to throw art at our faces. We have an Aggie going on right now. Theme today is rocks. Interpret it at your will. Y'all are artists.
Are we?
I think everyone's an artist.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah, I would play around with it a little more. I feel like a more floating look wouldn't have her butt so high. I think it'd feel more level,
Yeah,
or
definitely.
at least pulled down a little bit more.
Unless if we're on a completely different angle. Like
That's
if
true.
we're on a top view, then this wing wouldn't be twisted. It would actually just be flat like its partner there.
Mm-hmm. Because, like, I think the way I can think to picture it is the body is very heavy, and the wings are connected on the middle circle, if we think of the pony as 3 circles. So that middle circle will probably be the highest point if she's not holding her head up, because the wings are naturally pulling on that. Like, if you tie a rope to something, the place where you tie the rope is going to be the highest point when you pull it up, because that's where the rope's pulling from first. So, like, think of it like an imaginary rope, except her wings are pulling. That'll make it generally feel more relaxed, too. Because it feels like it would be a lot of work to hold your butt up that high if you're just, like, floating there.
Maybe you're just, I don't know, trying to get some workout going.
Fluttershy is doing squats, except air squats.
Alright, let's move on to the next one then. I think... Wait, let's zoom out. We got a small fleet here. I think it's this one. The adorable orange...
Spitfire.
Thank you. Brain completely just going...
Or R.I.P. R.I.P. poor Spitfire. And this was for Sundaw.
Oh, my very own resident.
Oh, it's a Fluffy. Hello.
Hello. I have snuck in.
Sneaky.
Alright. So, let's talk your pony here. Maybe. I disagree.
I just realised I can't draw on this stream or in the Aggie because I don't know where my tablet pen is.
Oh no.
Go find it.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah, you found it.
That for weeks. That was lucky. So.
All right. So, the Spitfire going on here. You have any questions about this?
Waiting for that lag because it's fun.
Waiting can be fun. You can daydream and have a world of imagination.
World of wonderful imagination. Sundog. I don't think is actually in the other one. Are they? Wait.
They're not in the chat, but the
Ah.
voice chat.
They're in
I
the
saw them here a minute ago.
Picarto.
That's adorable. CPC the
I think you need
best.
to
Everyone
get that
can
as a
now
button.
be me. I could. I would love that as a button.
Gren does buttons. So does what's their name? Cowboy Pony. They both do custom buttons. I
need to
guarantee
do
you
that.
could get that done.
I don't speak to them though. I'd feel so awkward. Like, not that I'm not friends with them, but you know, like we're not.
So you pay them like $3 or $4 to get it done for the con. And be like, I need a button of me, this picture. Can you make it? And
I could.
that would easily cover the cost of all the stuff.
True.
Because
I'll
it's
have
like,
to see. That's adorable. I would love that as a button though.
all right, so let's do this picture. They're just looking for some general feedback.
Yes.
All right.
All right. So I think the first thing that pokes out to me is that I totally love that you were putting color in the eye, but I feel like you went a little too heavy-handed with it. It's good to have color in the eye, but I'm trying to think. It's very light. It's like the lightest of light, and it's usually a reflective color, because eyes are very white and I don't want to say gray, but like what would you consider eye color?
Monotone.
Monotone, yeah.
Grayscale. Boring.
They're very shiny. Shiny goo balls.
Well, that just makes them delicious.
Yay, okay, it's working again now. I can draw. Or apparently not.
All right, this ear I would push back more because it's overtaking the eyeball. The reason is if we draw that arc, we can see that generally that half or that splitting is going to be somewhere over there, and so we want the ear somewhere behind it. Doing this all in the same color makes it very easy for everyone to understand what I'm talking about. It also seems to be facing the opposite or the same direction as the other ear, so I just make sure to help tell its direction with lines. So if you're doing that single line shape, if you were to keep that curve instead of doing the curve the other way, just do that, you'll be hunky-dory. Maybe just consider second line somewhere over there.
I agree.
Not that it's actually going to be shown because it's mostly covered by the main. The main has...
It's good to have in mind.
Yeah. The main's got a little thin in shape. So if we're at the root of that main, if we're just to give it a little rounding and try and tell it or try and describe a little bit of thickness to it, it's going to really help out that shape. The rest of it can be that standard 2D-ish wanting to be 3D, but if we just, that base of it, we just give it just a little bit of roundness to describe the 3D shape, you'll have a better time with it. Now this eye over here, I would actually pull in the entire cheek just to make the head taller, because while we do say the head's a ball, that's actually a bit of a lie. The head's more of an oval, at least from the front to 3/4. When it starts hitting the sideways, the muzzle pulls it out and gets that that ball shape. But we want to make the head just slightly taller, so we're going to take the side of the head, give it the little 3D-ness of that eye, pull the eye in a bit, and it's going to make it look a little less awkward on how that's sitting. And that's about what I got for that one. You could go with a 3D muzzle if you want, or you could stick with your standard MLP 2D muzzle. Your call. Yeah, beyond that, magic.
Yeah, definitely good. I think, Simi, if you want to push yourself, I notice you have very, very slight highlights and shadows, or just maybe shadows. I'm not quite sure I see highlights yet. I would push that a little further, and you just really give it that difference. Because like we can definitely see it in the ear up here, but it's not so noticeable places in the face you have it, or down here it's rather light. So I would definitely say push it a little further, you know? Don't be afraid to go too far, because it's better to go too far, because you can always reel it back. And if you never go far enough, then you'll never know, you know, what could be out there. And another suggestion I have, I would play with line weight a little bit, like eyes. I would give like the tops a little more weight to them, because you think like the eyelashes are also going to be there, and the eyelids are generally a little heavier than some parts of the eyes. It also gives them a little more definition and pop from the face themselves. So that'd be another thing to play with. But as far as I see for now, really great start. Really, you know, good work. I like the eyes. You got the eye spots. Nice shape for the irises. But yeah, if you have any other questions, Sundal, I really don't got much to say.
I was gonna do something, but my tablet's still installing. I'll try with my mouse and see if there's... The only thing left that you guys haven't already gotten to is I feel like the nose, the way the line here for the original nose looks like it goes downwards. I don't know if it's just because you guys are drawn on it or whatever, but it kind of looks like from the way that the shape goes that it's bending in this sort of direction. But like if you just have like a little bit of like an overlap, have this sort of bend downwards first of all, because otherwise it implies we're seeing the top of it, and just sort of overlap a little bit, just to try and make sure it's really hard to actually get right without my tablet. But you want to try and imply that the nose is going the same direction as the face. Something I often do, which I've done here as well. If I can just do this carefully, go down the middle of the face. That was really terrible, but yeah, like sort of try and imagine where the middle is. If that makes sense. Like the nose is good. There's going to be a bit where it's cut off because the nose is just going to be here, basically. If that makes sense. But I don't know, that's just my messing around anyway. It can be very hard with like noses and muzzles and that sort of thing to get the 3D shape, like where it pops off the face and then where it does in the right like angle, but really sort of treat it like an object of its own with its own shape, kind of stuck to the face. Then it really helps to sort of get that to push that shape out. I'm gonna have to restart apparently to install my tablet, so I'll join you guys back in a minute.
Womp womp. Good luck with tablet things.
Thanks.
Alright, we ready to move on to the next one?
Yep. I haven't heard from Sundal, so.
Alright. Oh my gosh, there's a happy little pony down at the bottom.
What? No, you see nothing. What?
Next one is...
Celestia?
Yes, it is. Torsen, I think, was the person who made this one. Yes. But these two mostly Celestia sleeping positions.
Silly, sleepy Celestia.
All right. So thoughts.
I think for the first one, I would have the legs down. Because I don't know about you, but I don't sleep with my legs straight up in the air. Like, I get the position you're going for, but I feel like I'm more like, she's just turned into like a rock. She's a sandbag all of a sudden. She's just so tired. She doesn't want to move. So I would think about like, maybe weird foreshortening over there, but something like that. That doesn't look great. Or, ooh, to give it even more dynamic, maybe you could have the leg hang off the bed so you can see both sides. Oh, that's not the right tool. There we go.
The eraser is totally not the right tool. I agree.
Well, no, I had the selection tool shortcut hit by accident. Maybe something like that, hanging off the bed, her leg. You know, play with that, find it, what's comfy. But I'm fine with the rest of it. What about you, Zamzam, anyway?
I feel like her head's pushed up. I don't see a pillow.
Mm-hmm.
So either take her mane, push it away a little bit so you can actually see a bit of a pillow there. You know, the royal posterior of pillows kind of thing. Nice little pillow. So we can actually get an idea of what's going on there.
They say the pillow is her mane.
Ah. I guess it is like a magical ethereal thing, so could be.
Yeah, how do they sleep with that?
These questions and more next time.
I do like how she's sleeping in the second panel, though. Like the whole face down, butt up. Night night, Salami.
So long, Salami.
I think if you're gonna have her wing open, have it like flopped on the side of the bed, like really like weighed down. Cause like I try to think of like if someone's really passed out that bad, like what she is, she's a sandbag. She's just like everything's weighing down that can weigh down, And for this pose, the legs propping up, that's fine because sandbags can have parts that prop up, and especially for like a comedic sleeping position. Just like really push that idea of things are just flop. She's a sandbag. There's this weight. She's so tired. She just does not want to get out of bed.
Yeah. I like it.
Woo! Of course, pillow. But yeah, I don't have much more to say for this.
Well, that's all about I got for it.
Awesome possum. What shall we tackle next, Zamzam?
Well, that's it for submitted art, except for what's submitted on the subreddit. So let's work from stuff on the subreddit.
Sounds golden. Just want to start at the top left?
That's it. All right. 1 second. This is by Stamus, and it is another no reference challenge. Find anything wrong with it? Yes. No references. What the heck? Why hinder yourself? References are magic.
I can totally understand wanting to like try it out on your own and use your imagination, but really, there's no real. It's not like a. I don't even know how to phrase it. It's not so much a challenge. They're there to help you, and it's not a bad thing to use them. So it's not really a challenge when you don't have them. It's just taking away one of your tools. There's no really need to do that, especially with art. You should be able to use all the tools at your disposal so you can make the most creative thing with what you have to use. Sure, there's situations where you're limited and whatnot, but work with the full set. There's no point in limiting yourself when it's unnecessary, especially when you're learning. It's like saying, I attempted a math problem without using my textbook. How'd I do? Well, if you've never read the chapter.
Hello.
Hello again.
Hello. We are working on the top left image of the Fluttershy.
Right, if my finger is coming.
So, that being said, we can probably...
Bigger. There you go.
I feel like there's a slight... We could fix the circles up a little bit. Your head is very, very big. And then your body becomes small. So I would adjust either the body size or the head size. I kind of did both. I made the head a bit smaller and the body I moved up a little bit, made it a little bigger.
I like this one. Yay, my tablet works.
Yay!
Just looking at where the leg is going, it's like always hard to see.
Yeah, it kind of like
almost looks
wraps
it's
around.
going up here. Yeah, like it's going behind the body. So I'm just thinking like if the shoulder's here, like where the arm, because this like where this curves in here very much implies it's just going on there. And
Mhm.
there's a line here which confirms that. So it looks basically like the arm is going under the body. So there's a pony behind her.
She's being hugged from behind.
Surprise ninja hug. So just sort of always like get into a habit of working out like what you don't see in drawings. Go like, okay, well, her arm's going like this. From that kind of position, it's probably going to be facing downwards. But she could have it facing inwards still, but you have to sort of bear in mind where the bones are going and how they're going to stretch and how they're going to bend. I'm trying to think like if you laid on your arm. Yeah, it's easy for like a human to have the arm like wrapped around the side when you're laying it like this, but like pony, I'm not sure if it'd be slightly more comfortable for it to be facing downwards. Because humans our arms kind of naturally fall pointing inwards. I don't know. It's up to you. If you want to do it like that, downwards, if you want to keep it the way you've got it, or just sort of focus on where these lines are going, then that's up to you. But have a play around where you think the arm's going to go.
Totally.
And if it is just an accident that you're not actually trying to imply it does this, just bear in mind, like, even if, like, sometimes you've drawn something and it looks perfectly fine, but without part of the drawing that's covered up, sometimes things end up giving off the wrong impression. Because, like I said, this line here implies does this. Say this wasn't a leg, it might be a shape that goes like this, but we don't know, so our eyes follow this around. So sometimes it's just a matter of like implying, trying to fight that implication with implication, you know. You can let people's imagination do the rest as long as you work out the basics.
All right. Anyone got anything else on this one? Beyond her missing wings?
Can't think of much.
I would say the front leg's great. I like the shape and how that feels, but I'd say we lost the back leg completely except for when it pokes out. So I would just be careful about losing that.
That's a good point. Just looking kind of at the way it is, imagining it as an actual real life sort of thing, I don't know, that seems like you'd have to be specifically putting effort and energy into keeping the leg balanced, because that's like very much like right on the top of that leg. If that makes sense. It's very like precariously balanced. Like, I don't know, it would make a lot more sense for the leg either to have this one completely around the side of it, excusing the terrible drawing I'm doing, or on this side. It looks very balanced, and like that's not natural, so you have to like be keeping it balanced. Does that make sense?
Either way, keep at it. You've got some good stuff. Just don't be afraid to use references. They're really there to help you. Even if you don't want to draw the exact pose your reference is, get a few references and mash them together.
Because let me tell you, finding like, especially when you start doing more interesting poses like this one, because it is a very nice pose, sometimes finding references, you're not going to find one that's exactly the pose. I can't tell you how many times I've been looking around, but you know, it's the wrong angle, or just the wrong kind of perspective, or the limbs are in the wrong direction, you know, but sometimes you just find little pieces of references that fit. So just, or just, you have to kind of imagine it from a different angle or something, but it can always help, and looking at multiple things helps even more.
Alright, let's move on to the next one then.
To the dash.
Very chibi and cute.
It is. So, right off the bat, putting a drop shadow on the background, weird. It doesn't make
Yeah,
sense.
I just noticed that.
You know what it feels like? School photos.
School
Yes,
photo
I was just
day. Maybe that's what it is.
She can't fly yet, so her parents are getting the backdrop.
Like the fact that the clouds is, to me, it's like it's drawn out even more by the fact that the clouds are so like photorealistic, but they got that like blue bleed around the edge.
Mm-hmm.
Like it looks deliberate, like it's just like a deliberate like backdrop. Clouds definitely aren't easy to draw, but they can be fun if you have the right brushes and the right techniques. There are plenty of tutorials out there and plenty of different like resources for drawing in like brushes and stuff. If you did want to play around with that.
One thing I'm seeing right off the bat beyond the drop background, the eye shapes. Your pupils are like rolling directions, or sorry, irises are rolling directions. Be careful. You generally want them the oval shape to follow the shape of the head, or follow the direction of the head, so up and down. Really no reason to roll it left and right, or angle it left and right. So I'd take this. Just make sure the oval sits around the entire, or sits the same direction of the eye.
Mm-hmm.
Very easy thing to get stuck on, because damn, do eyes get annoying some days. They just aren't matching. Why aren't they matching?
Oh man, I hate that.
Mm. So you say like, fine, I'll make them deliberately like asymmetrical, but make it.
We're just gonna draw derpy all day long.
That's something I used to do when I first started drawing ponies. When it didn't work out and I just couldn't get the eyes right, and I just got sick of it, I just turned into derpy, because I could just say, oh, I did it all the time. If I wasn't happy, I would just throw up my hands and be like, okay, you're derpy now.
Have
Time
like
to
a
draw.
character who's an amputee. Whenever drawing hands doesn't work, like fine, I'm drawing this person. I've never done that, mostly because I actually used to not draw derpy until recently. I know, shocking. It feels like this eyelid needs to come down a little more. It seems like really off from this one, and this eye also needs to be raised up here a little bit. Again, it's something we talk about pretty much every single week, but we always notice eyes are too small. And again, so we've got like the side of the face, and it's facing in this sort of direction. You don't want this, because that doesn't really convey the direction. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What you want is this. Again, excuse terrible drawing, but you want it thinner this way, not this way. Because it's gonna be, you're looking at side on, so of course it's gonna be this, but you don't. It's gonna be the same height. Only if it was disappearing off into the distance would it have that kind of drop in scale. But your face is not gonna be going that far into the distance.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Even with like a fisheye lens effect, it's not gonna be that like big. So just bring that up so it matches with this. And down so it matches with that.
Yeah, because we lost. It's funny because I think the last drawing we did, your eyes were uneven at the top point, but now they're uneven at the bottom point of the eye. So it's just something to be careful of and really watch that.
There is no neck on this pony.
It would be hard to get that consistency right. And honestly, I know a lot of artists that do this. Just here for the eyes. They'll get their guides in to get everything set up, and here's this and that. I don't do that, honestly. I just have like the middle bit, and usually I have like the cross bit as well.
I do it all the time.
I do it when I'm really struggling with a certain angle, but usually I can go off the flow of the cross.
Because sometimes
really-
you can just go like,
Yeah.
just, okay, about there, cool.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can just draw sort of just shimmy the line in just to see, okay, is that lining up? Oh,
The other thing I did was I quick fixed up the ear. I don't think you need to cut off the ear like you have cut off. I know you've been doing this very fluff style in the inner ear. I still think you'd be better off having the fluff flow a different direction. Feels a bit odd coming downward into the ear. The other thing is you kind of have the ear as a cup. Like if I draw a line around where your fluff is, it's almost like this is an edge, like a lip, but really the ears kind of flesh out, so it would sort of separate there, and it would come out to the ear. So I wouldn't worry about going all the way around and having a circle, just kind of like your lines.
If I might jump in for a second.
Oh my
Hey,
gosh, it's Masteric.
hello.
Oh,
This is a surprise of happiness.
Long time no hear.
yeah, just back for about 3 days or so here, but I want to jump in and say hello to people.
Comes back after like 6 months for 3 days, and he joins our stream. Ah, yes!
I feel so happy.
I hope everyone's doing all right. But if I may interject on that point for a bit, kind of follow on Ali right there. But with the ears, one of the recommendations I give you, and I just jumped in, so I have no gluteus piece of this just yet. But one of the recommendations I give you here is take a look at the ear from a three-dimensional perspective. So rather than looking at it as Ali put it, a cup or a oblong shape like that, take it into a three-dimensional perspective. How does the ear look from the back? How does it look from the sides? How does it look inverted from an isometric standpoint? And then try and develop it from there. So rather than it just being one shape, just like the body is not just one shape, overall it's one, but it's composed of many. Take that same thought process to how you compose the ear. The ear is composed of most pieces. I think Cute Pencil Case does a very good job in how she constructs ears, where she starts in making a circle where the ear would be, and then builds off that. But that final shape is still influenced by that baseline circle. So it shows where the first part of the ear is, and then the upward piece of material, which would be more like the cartilage of an ear, is built off of it. But you still see that shape influenced from there and in more of a three-dimensional perspective. So what I'd recommend is taking that thought process, going into look at how ear references are from especially artists that you've enjoyed and artists that you really look up to and like to watch their stuff, and try and understand how they draw ears. Everything in the end, but how they draw ears, how the shape looks from different angles, how when the light hits it, how it's affected in this way or another. And then from that, try it yourself. See how that's built. See how they create it. Watch their works in progress, their whips, their tutorials that they give. Look at how they build it. Because in the end, how you construct it is how the final product will be. Nobody starts from building a pyramid or a building from the top down. It started from the bottom up. So look at your baseline, how you construct, and how that perspective would be in a three-dimensional surface. Because you may be developing on a 2D piece of paper or screen, but in the end, you're trying to create a 3D surface, a life in itself. So try to construct that. And if you do that, I guarantee you, you'll be at least 100% more than what you already have. And that's not even exaggeration. But yeah, that's my 2 cents.
And I've been illustrating your point. Yeah, it's all
Tag
about
team.
understanding the 3D perspective, and how things are built up and everything. And absolutely, like, you want the back, the side of the ear, the front of it, whatever. It obviously I'm not doing it justice, not being able to show enough detail, but you know, just really sort of explore what it actually looks like. Because remember, drawing isn't just shapes and lines. Like, we might just be literally drawing lines and filling colored pixels in between them, but like, you're not actually drawing that. You know, from your point of view, you're drawing something that has shape and weight, and like everything's in front of one another, and everything has like a round shape and everything. So when you've done a good job with it already, I see lots of sort of like round shapes and everything. Just keep that flowing the rest of the body as well. As for something I want to say that isn't really, I'm not pointing out something you've done wrong, but just my sort of perspective of how you could tighten up a bit. I think the head shape the head is very large. Like if I follow this around, I'm not even doing it right, but yeah, something like that. It's very big round head, big huge forehead there. The hairline is very high up. The ear is very high up and just kind of attached to the side of the head. It makes everything look a bit too kind of building block. This will come with practice, but as you do more and draw more heads and stuff, everything flows into one. Like the way I do it for my drawings, I tend to start with like the ear, and then I build up. One thing flows through to the next thing, which leads to the next thing, and ends up building up the head. I feel like your drawings could definitely benefit more from having. What has happened to my thing here? I can't even draw anymore. My pen's messed up.
Disregard thoughts, draw ponies.
Really sort of focus on like the sides of everything. Like the ear, I think is a bit too small. The hair, I think, is too high up. But just really sort of focusing on, because it's very hard to exaggerate anything. It's especially when you're working with something like this, where the character's taking up the most of the canvas, and they're very big. It can be very hard to really push that size in. So either try some small thumbnailing first, or like try drawing characters on a smaller canvas for a little while, or smaller on the canvas rather. Work on like how things are placed, the eyes, the hair, the ear. Work on sort of tightening everything up. Look at other artists you like, maybe like chibi stuff since you've drawn Philly, but in general anyway, and look at how they constructed the heads and bodies and where everything's placed as well. Don't do this all at once, because that's a lot of like stuff to take in, but work on one thing at a time. If you want to work on your ears, then by all means focus on that, and then next you can move on to eyes, hair. You could just focus on one thing at a time, because once you get each thing in, that's another weapon in your arsenal, and that's like another thing that you're good at, and you can carry it through into every picture, and it will feel great.
Yeah, if I might jump on Fluffy's point, jumping on me here for a minute too. One thing I would say to kind of compliment what Fluffy here said is, I'm losing my words now as well. Now I need to go draw too. But I would recommend looking at actual ears as well. So look at actual horse ears. Look at when people design studies for different horse ears, or even ears of different animals. Now, I'm not going to say you have to be or not. Okay, I'm not insinuating that, but I'm going to say with the furry side of things here, there's a lot of studies that people do of heads and ears and such like that in different positions. What I would recommend too is, regardless if you're into it or not, I'm not saying you need to be, okay? I'm just saying, for example, you can look at a lot of the different works that people do with that and how they design ears and other pieces and components. There's a lot in the MLP universe as well. I would recommend looking into those and then watching how people do it. And then I'm not one to say full on copy things, but I am one to say use it as a study, not to copy their work, but to do it so that way you understand it. So when you create it yourself, you have an understanding of that 3D space, of how those ears actually function, how they're utilized in an actual sense of reality, and then how all the pieces behind it and below it, i.e. the muscle, the bones, and everything interconnect to make them what they do. If you understand why something works the way it does, then you'll understand how to create it and how to make it effective. Because you're not just drawing what you see, okay? You're not just drawing what you see in a piece. You're drawing how it's connected to make it real. There's a good myth, okay? I honestly, I'll be honest, I don't know if it's true or not, but there was a myth about the Mona Lisa that Leonardo da Vinci created, about how it wasn't just a painting of what you saw with the upwards face and the figure who it was painted of, but rather it was painted in layers, starting with the skeleton, the muscles, the bones, and everything else up to the layer that you view now. So it was there was a myth that every other layer below it was actually constructed too, from the bones up. I don't know if that's true, but what I am saying is that concept I do like and I do agree with, because the end piece that you view here, the piece that you're seeing now that we're all looking at, in the end is not just the finished piece. There are a number of bones, a number of structures, a number of muscles, tendons, ligaments, thoughts, even actions, even. Each one is influenced by different movements or momentum or something else that will create what it does and what you view. If you can emulate that and understand how each piece is created to do what it does, then you can take that and make anything. And that's the real goal here. So understand the construction, understand why things move as they do, and understand how to create that. And that's all you need to do. It's as simple as that, as much as it is complex. But understand that, and I guarantee you, you'll have no problems.
As I've always said, you know, you've got two types of references, and one's like real sort of live action, you know, actual photos of horses and stuff, and then you've got artwork. Artwork, of course, is where someone has already figured out how to draw this from a cartoon perspective, where they've used the photo evidence, and you've got the photo evidence, which is the actual real, like, how it looks in real life. So, you know, that's obviously extremely important. Looking at artistic references will give you the perspective of how you're trying to, because you're trying to draw, you're not trying to draw a photo, you're trying to draw a picture. Looking at the photo for reference gets you that baseline understanding of how everything works, like Matt said, and then looking at the cartoon stuff helps you to realize it in a cartoon format. So both are incredibly important, I think.
Agree, definitely agree.
Well then, I think we covered all that we can with this image. Might be time to move on down to a little limestone pie. Did we lose Zamzam?
If I don't have my mic muted.
That might be helpful.
Yeah, we're actually gonna move on to the picture that was posted in the chat next. I'm sorry to counteract you. Or contradict? Yeah, not counteract. Yeah.
Oh, right. Yes, we have someone from the chat.
So we're gonna go. There it is. Found a nice little place up in the top corner.
Booyah!
I feel like that needs to be a unicorn, so they can become an alicorn.
That's how Celestia really got her wings.
Oh, that explains M.A. Larson.
Red Bull may give you wings, but nobody said what gives you a horn.
I can say some things, but not on the stream.
Bad alley. All right. So, this picture. Do you have any questions off the bat about this?
So what they said in chat was they'd like to know what they should focus on next, because they really feel like they did a really good job with this. So they want to see what really they could push more.
All right. You want something to push?
That makes sense.
Go on to backgrounds. Give them an environment to be in. The white ethereal blob. It's a good start, but it's not everything. There's a lot to draw around them.
I would agree there. I think the background is the easiest thing we can say to definitely push yourself. I'd also recommend light sourcing. I know here you kind of go for the simple or simplistic view of it. I think what you have, honestly, is a good job, actually. I think what you do is you take your anatomy well and you kind of show a three-dimensional perspective to it. I don't see any light sourcing, though. I want to see that, especially if you have a glowing Red Bull here or something like that, maybe. Maybe you can add a light source into that. Maybe you can add more into it. And somebody's taken on the muzzle here, so I'll wait on that. But maybe add some more expression into your piece here, especially with the eyebrows. I don't see any on this character. Maybe that's one thing you can look into is eyebrows, expression, really show the excitement. I'm not sure if they're praising the Red Bull or if they're excited about the Red Bull or if...
Yeah, because the expression is just kind of more just, oh my god, this is a thing, but we don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. Like the eyes are just shapes, the mouth is just like an open mouth. So we can see there's some form of surprise or gasp going on. But I mean, expressions don't be scared of them because expressions are so fun. Like there's so much you can do to show detail here that you can tell the story with.
Agreed. And it's the same thing with emotion. The posing that you have your character in, you can show because nonverbal will speak more than verbal or more than just the face of what it shows for emotions. So you're conveying some of that, so good job there. But don't be afraid to experiment and do more with that. You can take the back and arch it more. You can really kind of pull that emotion out because if they're super excited, almost to the point where they're worshiping the Red Bull here, you can really exaggerate those emotions. You can really jump them out. And I'd recommend taking a look at the Disney artwork and animation that is done here. They really do a good job in bringing that cartoonized version of emotion, especially in their sketching and design development systems. I do not see the one I want to reference here, but I would definitely recommend looking into that because you can always jump on doing more and showing the nonverbal emotion. And that's something everyone can do.
You know what? Something else everyone can do?
What's that?
The Picardo.
Get on the Aggie.
Oh, okay. I think you can say use a mirror to like look at your face. Reference.
Whoa! I did not mean to click those buttons. Thank you,
just,
Dino.
Did you just shoot nuclear missiles again?
I did. Because there's not
When are we
nearly
gonna-
enough rock.
The book fort and the plushie fort made a peace treaty years ago. We don't need to keep fighting each other.
Remember, it was not a peace treaty, it was a non-aggression pact. No official ceasefire, therefore combative effects are still in play. Okay, it's called a DMZ. Everybody's minded and everything else here, but there is no official pact. So technically, still
We're friends anyway. So we have tea parties annually.
I'm making air quotes right now. Friend.
Weekly tea parties.
Okay. I don't think they're tea parties the way that you say. Okay, non-aggression pacts with.
All right. We're gonna go on to the next picture.
And don't be afraid of backgrounds. They actually can be really fun. Watch some Bob Ross. It'll be a good time.
If you're afraid of them, you should
And
probably
one
be
thing I will
doing
say
them.
to finalize this here too is I like the hat, the clothing construction. I think you've done a good job. It's something I can really say. But I do see some shading you did on the hat. Carry that over to the rest of your character, and I think it'll work out fantastic for you.
Woo! All right, what's next? Now we do limestone.
Yeah. Last but not least, limestone.
Last chance. If you have anything to submit, throw it at our faces now.
Throw it at their faces. I'm not saying no.
Our
Alright.
faces are prepared.
But yeah, one thing I'll say is kind of carrying over from the other one here. Definitely look into motion sets with the eyebrows and the facial features again. You do good in showing that with the eyes and really kind of developing that there. So nothing wrong with that. That being said, the eyebrows, really showing that with the rest of the face. When the face moves, again, as I alluded to earlier pieces here, the face moves, okay? It's not just one piece of things, okay? It's not just a piece of paper or just a line or a circle on it. It's a shape. Shapes have things under them. They have things that move with them, muscles that move and are affected in other parts of the face. When you move your face, you have what? However many muscles that will move with it. When you smile, you have so many muscles. When you frown, you have so many muscles. And when you have proper trigger pull, you have about 13 muscles that pull. So, I mean, yeah, it really depends on what you have there. So don't be afraid to show that or try that in your drawing. In addition, I'd say look at your eyes there. You do a good job in trying to show direction. Look at kind of centering the eyes, kind of making them a bit more even in between the two. They seem a bit lopsided. So you convey what you're conveying. That's good. Just try and look at equaling them a bit more. I'd recommend doing some more practice to make that look more even and concise. Since they're two similar shapes, they're not the same, but they're similar. So work on showing that a bit more. But what you have is decent here. So, and my third point I wanted to say is one, good job on the shading. I like seeing that in here, so good there. They're going to work on the ear, so I won't say anything there. But the blushing, I wanted to point out one piece of this. So one, it's not just one shape. Now take that thought to everything else we just talked about, but when you look at the blushing, you actually have two distinct points of blushing there. You have the undertone and the overtone that you've done. That's good. And that's the concept I want you to take with everything else here is it's not just one thing. The blushing you made into two things. That's exactly what you should do with other pieces here, two or more. Make them into the different components they are to show that, rather than just being one straight piece. So always things to improve there, of course, but I just want to point out that I was really excited to see what you did with that, making it more than one thing, really showing that how it was affected by the body itself, rather than just being added on the body. It was part of the body. Take that concept to everything else there, and you definitely jumped over the bridge with what you want to do. So, awesome.
So I think the primary thing that jumped out to me and Ali, I think, was the head shape.
Mm-hmm.
It stretches out very far at the back of the head here, and then it dips very harshly at the top. What I just drew at the side there is basically how I'm seeing it from that sort of shape, and honestly, it looks like ET as a pony. So just like the purple line here is a good sort of area of where the head should be going, and bring it in further at the back here, which Ali's done, because it's not going to go too far out. I mean, I'd probably bring that slightly more.
Yeah, just a little bit rounded out in the back.
And then the ear, again, just like in the last picture, it's very like stuck onto the side of the head, and I didn't really think that flowed very well. So I drew it sort of coming out a little bit lower, just stretched it out a bit, because yeah, I draw very big ears, but this is about show style sort of size here, the way I've drawn it. But that's basically it. Just sort of made it look more like it's a part of the head flowing into and back into it, flowing from and back into it, rather than just being something that's glued onto it. Because that's what you want to avoid. You don't want your drawing to feel like it's just a bunch of body parts stuck together, do you? You know, you want it to feel like it has life, like it's real.
Mm-hmm. I agree. And I'll just quick hop in continuation onto the hair. Something you can do on top right now, it's kind of like it feels like a hat on her head. There's no real form to it. And especially since you've definitely moved away from show style. So I think it's nice to see artists push for form in the hair as well. If you're pushing for form in the face, like with the cheeks and the muzzle and the eyes, and showing, you know, the dips in the ears and all that fun stuff. Well, the same thing can be done with hair. You know, we can really utilize and see. Let me just get a different color so I can draw it over myself. I'll get a dark blue. That'll be fine. So like you can really get a feel for the hair being a part of her head. It's coming out of her head, you know. It forms its own clumps. It has its own fall and weight. You know, you can really play with that and figure things out, how it's coming out of her skull. And then she also has this like side bang. So just play with that. Have it more, instead of sitting on her head, think of the hair coming out of her head. So like, you know, maybe in orange, I can draw kind of like, okay, so the hair would kind of, I need a little thicker than that. The hair can, you know, it's coming out and going on to the scalp, and coming out of the scalp and onto the head itself. So even if you're just like playing with hair, you kind of get the feel of like how it's coming off the head. It's fine to be messy and to figure that stuff out, how the hair is going to flow out of the head, because then you can break it down into simpler lines and forms, like having these little bumps on her head to show separation of the clumps of the lines that we see in her MLP style hair. And that'll give you more form, more 3D. It will feel less flat because of that. And just play with it, have fun, you know? Boom.
Absolutely. I think once you learn, because at the start, of course, when you're drawing, it's very technical. It's very, you know, big daunting thing, full of how do I learn how to do this. But like once you really get used to it, the thing that changes about drawing is it becomes more like you're obviously always chasing experience and chasing technique, but like it becomes more about just feeling it, and sort of working out from just wanting to bring it to life more than wanting to just learn how to do something like homework, you know. So the sooner you start kind of working into, you know, your own feeling and just really just making it your own, the sooner you start sort of bringing yourself ahead, I think.
Mm-hmm. Another small adjustment, I would say move the whites of the eye closer to the nose, because it feels like the eye is farther over than it needs to be. But if it's like close to the nose, if you feel that overlap on the eyeball from this angle. But yeah, that's all I really got to say about this piece. Fluffy covered the rest.
I got nothing else.
Yeah. Well, one more thing I do want to say is you can take a look at the muzzle and the mouth here. You've done good. Nothing to say you need to improve on anything. I think what you have is good. But if you want to bring it into different emotion sets as well, what I would recommend is taking a look at how the mouth moves, how things are done right there, if there's any spacing left between the teeth and the muzzle or the back, or however you want to take it in your own style and in how you format it. It's definitely an area that you can look into. What you have is good, don't get me wrong. But I would recommend taking a look at how you construct muzzles as well, and then how you construct mouths to see if there's anything you'd like to improve upon that. So, and that will help you in understanding how to construct the head shape as well, because it's part of the head shape and it will make a difference in how you construct it. So I think what you are doing here is you're taking a view of the head and then you're trying to construct the muzzle on top of it, but you're superimposing the maw on top of the head section, which is causing that oblong shape, that kind of bulging to it that was previously alluded by Fluffy, by Ali, and by LD and everyone else here. So I think that may be one of the reasons why, because you leave the ear where it should be. That's good. Like you have that shape generally down all right there. But then when you put on that muzzle, when you put the rest of the head together, it pushes that shape out. And what's viewable here at the back of the head, like it's been talked to. So I think one of the ways that can help you solve this, not just identify the problem, but help to solve the problem for you, is look at how you construct muzzles when you're in the construction phase. Not sure if that's a zipper or something else, but that's not a word. But look into how you construct that, and then how that view will be from different angles. There's plenty of great works out there that you can view to show you how you can reference back to show you how muzzles are drawn from different angles and such. I would highly recommend for you to take a look at how those muzzles look from different angles, up, down, left, right, side, other side, other side, other side, and versus from this side, etc., to see how those shapes correspond from how the artist or the viewer views them. And that, in the end, will help you to reference back to the head shape, will help you reference back to the ear shape, will help you better refine your eye shape, will help you better refine your neck, will help you better refine how to do the hair and the mane in the end. So the best thing you can do is look at how you start constructing first. Develop and refine your construction phase. Sketch it out. Work on being messy and developing in your gesture drawing and your sketching there. And then work on building your piece up from those levels. And once you do that, you'll be able to define each of the individual components that were discussed here and how to view those more effectively. But overall, good job.
Most definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very good.
Good.
I think everyone
Shaka
has
bra.
had some pretty amazing pictures today.
It's been a good
This day
haul.
of art.
The alley walking away like the Hamburglar with a bag over her back, mask over her face. She's like, it's a good haul today.
All right. Well, with that, because we've got no new art, I think we're going to call that an end to the stream. So thank you all for coming. Thank you all for your help. And we'll see you again next time.
Bye.